Welcome, everybody!
Episode 100.
We made it. We're out after this. We're doing no more. Fuck it. That's it.
Can we get a toast? Since it's last episode. What are you sipping on over there?
Gummy bear. White gummy bear drink.
Nice. I'm sipping on some Swiss Premium Sweet Tea Southern Style.
Hell yeah. So, episode 100.
We got a lot to talk about today.
We do. We have a fuckload. First off, you wanna hear a cool fact?
Yeah, sure.
All hippopotamus milk is pink.
I read that last weekend.
Where'd you read that?
Your notebook.
You weren't supposed to be in that.
Well, sitting out on the table.
This is the surprises I told you about. What the fuck? I'm still gonna read them.
Okay.
Did you read all of them?
A few of them. You didn't say not to read them.
God damn it. Those are the surprises. Yeah, we have a bunch of shit today. I guess none of it's a surprise anymore.
No, it's shit. It's not a surprise.
What are your stories?
Wait. Are you not going to read off the rest of them?
No.
Why not?
Because.
Come on.
I'm not going to read them off all in one list.
Okay. So I'm talking about Glenn Miller's death and the sinking of the SS Arctic.
Arctic?
Arctic.
Was it in the Arctic when it sunk?
No. It's just the name of the boat.
Hypocrite.
Creek.
Whatever. Well, want to get into some stories?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Tabby Star, a dream lamp story, a lamp in a dream, the Great Moon Hoax, John Titor, the NEOM Line, and a mountain lion.
What?
Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Couple of them that'll be kind of dumb, but they're kind of meant to be.
Yeah.
A couple of them are cool. So, what, do you want to get into it? We're going to break right in?
Yeah, let's, you want to do some of your stories and I'll do one of mine?
Sure.
The Glenn Miller one's pretty short. It's like 2 pages.
Okay. I'll get into Tabby Star. I got this from manyworlds.space, and the article was called The Ever More Puzzling and Intriguing Tabby Star. So, when astronomers look at other stars to find planets orbiting them, one of the best ways to find a planet is they see this slight dimming in front of the sun, and they can tell it's like a body moving in front of it, like a planet. Mm-hmm. So when they see the shadow moving in front of the sun, it's most likely a planet because it's big enough to make like a little bit of a dim, but it's still barely a dim because it's like such a big star. Mm-hmm. So the dimming is very slight, doesn't last a very long time. So when there's a longer, more substantial dimming in front of the star, it means something weird's happening. That's what's going on with star KIC 8462852, which is also known as Tabby's star. So this star is named after Tabitha Boyajian of Yale University, who found it with the help of citizen students. Data from the Kepler telescope saw two big and not similar dips in Tabby's brightness, and they were too large to be explained by an exoplanet passing by. Some ideas suggest a swarm of comets, a giant dust cloud, or maybe even an alien megastructure. This is what's intriguing to me about Tabby's star. Benjamin Montet of Caltech and Joshua Simon of the observatories of the Carnegie Institute of Washington analyzed Kepler's pictures taken every 3 months, and their conclusion was no known or proposed stellar phenomena can fully explain all aspects of the observed light curve. So Montet told Gizmodo, "We spent a very long time trying to convince ourselves that this wasn't real. We just weren't able to." Let's switch this page. It is certain that the dimming has nothing to do with the instruments looking at it. Like, there's no technical problems with the satellite or anything, or the telescope or anything. And other stars surrounding Tabby star aren't doing the same thing, so it's just this star that they're seeing this huge dimming in front of it. So Boyajian, I think that's how you say the name, they found the star had originally liked the idea that it was a swarm of comets, but she says new results make it unlikely. Michio Kaku, do you know who he is? No. He's a theoretical physicist. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
No.
He was talking about this. This is where I heard of it. And he said that it could, but if it was an alien like structure surrounding it, it would be like a Dyson sphere, which is like this big structure they build around stars. It's just obviously hypothetical. Like they theorize that we could someday do this, build a structure around the sun, and it'll take energy from the sun, so we don't have to burn like fossil fuels and stuff, and we can, like, it all comes down to like the types of civilizations. Like there's type 1, 2, and 3. We're not even type 1 yet. So a type 1 civilization can harness the energy of its planet, like earthquakes, volcanoes, and stuff. They can use those to get energy. Type 2, harness the power of their star. That's the Dyson sphere I was talking about. And type 3, harness the power of their galaxy and can travel through the galactic supercluster.
The fuck is that?
It's like, I think it's just like a cluster of galaxies. So like, he's saying that if it was a Dyson sphere, that means it would be a type 2 civilization. And he was like, we're not even type 1 yet.
Yeah.
But the fact that a theoretical physicist is talking about that, he's like putting it all out there. I found that pretty interesting because he's also big on trying to find out what all the UFOs and everything are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just thought it was a pretty cool story that they see this huge dimming and they have no idea what it is. Like they ruled out planets, comets, pretty much ruled out gas and everything. They just have no idea what it is. I think it would be cool if it was some alien thing.
That'd be nuts.
And I was listening to something. I think it was on Lex Friedman's podcast. He's a scientist. He works with AI at what's the big technological institute? I think it's in Massachusetts. MIT. He's at MIT.
Oh, okay.
He works with AI there. And he had someone on his podcast talking about if aliens were to expand throughout their universe, that it would start out slow, but they would get to the point where they would be going so fast expanding that they would like break the speed of light. Like they could be faster than the speed of light. So the light that we're seeing, we wouldn't even see them coming until like they were everywhere around us. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess theoretically, any day you could just look up and see a bunch of shit in the sky and be like, what the fuck? It came out of nowhere because they went faster than the speed of light. That would be fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So that's my story on the Tabby store. That's it. That's it. That's it, bud. So yeah. Episode 100. Oh, you want to hear something cool?
Yeah, sure.
The red food coloring, also known as carmine, that's used in a lot of candy, is made from a kind of beetle. So pretty much when you eat red food, you're eating beetles.
John.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what?
You're eating John.
John?
Yeah.
Fuck's that?
Lennon.
Oh. Ben. Jesus Christ. Okay, you want to get into one of your stories?
Yeah, sure. So, this comes from Mark Felton Productions. I've plugged him like 1,000 times by now. Go check him out. So he did a video about Glenn Miller, and I thought it was pretty interesting because I was just talking with someone about Glenn Miller the other day, and I remember seeing this thumbnail pop up like a few months ago, and I was scrolling through his page looking for stuff. I'm like, oh shit, I'll do that. So if you don't know Glenn Miller, he's like probably one of the biggest like
big
artists.
band?
Yeah, big band artists from like the 40s and the 30s. Like it's like him, Benny Goodman, Count Basie.
Sinatra started back then, didn't he?
Yeah,
He's pretty early.
mm-hmm. Like late 40s, I think.
What were Glenn Miller's like big songs? I have a record of them somewhere in here. I don't know where they went.
In the Mood,
In the Mood.
Chattanooga, Choo Choo.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Starlight?
Maybe?
Starlight something? I don't know.
I know it to hear it, but you know, he like a lot of this stuff was kind of the same, really. Yeah. But you know,
people redid like all of them a million times.
But so like just to give you an idea, like if you ever seen a World War II movie and it's like in America or England or something like that, and there's music playing, there's a pretty good chance that's
Glenn Miller.
Yeah,
I heard him.
I was about to say Benny Goodman, not Benny Goodman.
I heard him in a couple World War II podcasts. They'd like play that in the background.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All the time.
Well, it was like he was like the soundtrack of World War II, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So like In the Mood, that's probably one of it. Like that's arguably his best song. Like you still hear it today. It was in Fallout, isn't it?
I think one of his
third
songs
Fallout.
I think. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
sounds
In the
right.
Mood is. There could be even more, I don't know. But, so just a little bit of background. He was born in Iowa in 1904, and he grew up playing the trombone, and he eventually went on to arrange his own pieces, and he started to break out, like, in, like, the public eye in the 30s.
I thought you meant in, like, hives.
No. Yeah, so he starts playing around, and then after 1938, he really became a star, and he started, like, making, like, brief appearances in movies, and he was performing with, like, many of his contemporaries, which that'd be pretty cool. So in 1942, America's in the war, and he and his band, they made regular appearances on, like, CBS, like, their radio show, and he also got his first gold record for Chattanooga Choo Choo. And when he was 38, I think this was the same year, when he was 38, he decided to stop playing music and enlist, like, to serve his country. And he worked out a deal. I thought this was kind of interesting. He worked out a deal so that he could bring his band with him and, like, guys, like, that are already enlisted, and just have a band just go around, like, kind of like a USO show.
Oh, okay.
Just, like, raise morale and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure Bing Crosby did the same thing.
Nice.
I'm very sure he did the same thing. But, yeah, so, like, they started playing all over the world, and they performed 800 concerts in just 2 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I thought this was pretty interesting. Whenever he was abroad, like, most of this, because he still recorded, like, while he was still, you know, like, touring, and it said that most of the stuff he did while he was or the war was going on, was at Abbey Road Studios.
That's in England, right?
Yeah, it's like where the Beatles,
Yeah.
like, where they had that rooftop concert. I'm pretty sure that was Abbey Road.
Ew.
But,
Is that where they took that picture of them walking across the road, like, the four of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's countless other people that recorded there, too. I think Eric Clapton, well, he recorded on some of their records, too. But there's a lot of people. Anyway. So Miller was no stranger to the dangers of war. He already had 2 close calls, like, where he almost died. There was one time where...
In World War II?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was in England. Both of these are in London. He was in London, and they were at the studio or whatever, and some place got blown up, like, a block or 2 away from him. And then he left England, or this one place... No, he left London, and he went to another place in England, and the next day, one of those, like, V1 rockets, it hit the building.
That they were in?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, like, obviously, he's got some crazy stories to tell, like, Dodge and Danger.
What if there's any recordings of that? Like, was that when they were recording that place blew up, like, a block away?
I don't know.
It'd be cool to hear that in a recording.
That'd be insane. Especially for something like back then, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in 1944, he was given permission to go to Paris because he, like, really wanted to go there. And so a plane with the band and their equipment was meant to take off on December 14th. The show he wanted to do in Paris, he wanted to do it on Christmas Day.
Well, that was after we took it back, right? After we took...
Probably it's December of 1944.
Yeah, we're pretty sure we took it back by then.
Yeah. Yeah, so they get a band, or a plane for their band and their equipment, and it was meant to take off on December 14th, but a big storm kept the plane grounded indefinitely. Like, they didn't know how long they're going to be there. So Miller, and he was getting, like, kind of impatient. He was talking to an American pilot who was, like, piloting a Nordstrom type plane, and it's just, like, a little plane. It has, like, space for, like, a few people, I think. And he was talking to him, and he was like, oh, like, why don't you come with me to Paris? And so the next day, Miller slipped away, and they took off unnoticed by, like, the rest of the band. And it wasn't until 3 days later that did anyone even realize Miller, like, couldn't be found.
Wait, he left without his band?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, he was impatient. He wanted to get there. And so, like, they're like, where the hell is, like, Glenn at? And so an investigation started, and they wanted to try and find the plane, but it was soon decided that the plane must have gone down in the English Channel because, like, the guy, it was, like, an unofficial, like, flight, so there's no record of it.
Okay.
Of him leaving. So there's like some weird conspiracies that people came up with. They say that he was in the CIA and he got taken out, or not even the CIA, but some government thing.
OSS or something.
OSS, that's it, yeah. And they say he was killed because of that. His brothers thought that he was just in the hospital with lung cancer, but none of those are true. The two best like things that are out there, it's pretty crazy. So the same day, a group of English bombers, they were Lancaster bombers, they were coming back to England, and I guess there was this rule back then that if you were coming back from like a bombing raid, you couldn't come back with like so many like bombs or whatever. And so they just like wait till they got to the English Channel, dump out everything, and then, you know, just go land. And so these Lancasters were coming back from a bombing raid in Germany, and they didn't hit their target. Like, it was like poor conditions. And so these are Royal Air Force bombers, not like American bombers. And in the middle of the group dumping their bombs, a plane, a Nordstrom, just like the one that Miller was in, two guys.
Happy 100.
Hi, Terry.
Hi, Terry.
Continue your story. I want to hear it. The bombers. We're in the middle of a plane story.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Want to hear it?
Are you gonna stay? What?
Camera?
No.
The DeVito?
Yeah.
Oh, the pillow.
Okay. I want to hear the rest of the story.
Okay. So, yeah, so they're like dropping all their bombs, and then two guys look out and they're like, oh shit, there's someone like right below us. And
Did they bomb them?
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
They hit the plane with a bomb.
Well, like, are going off all around the plane, and it like, you know, there's
Damn.
still force coming out from all that.
So that's how he died.
I think so, yeah. And like there's a state, they did their own investigation. They say that there's no way that Miller could have been in that plane because it didn't match with the timetables or something like that. But they think that his plane did go down somewhere. But in 1987, a fisherman found the remains of a plane just like the one Miller took off in. And after reporting the find, he was instructed to, because he got like caught in his nets, like they just told him to try and cut it free and let it drift out to sea, since it's like a war grave or something like that. So like, you know, like leave the dead.
Yeah.
And no one's found this plane like since him. So
he's somewhere in the English Channel.
probably, yeah.
Fuck. I didn't know he died back then.
Me neither. I had no idea.
I figured he was still alive, like,
Davy Jones?
to an old man. Glennis Miller.
Oh,
Yeah.
not Davy Jones.
No.
He was in Davy Jones' locker. Isn't
No,
that,
no, no,
isn't
no.
that the bottom of the ocean?
I'm thinking of
From the Monkeys.
guy that jumped out of
What?
Oh. I
Was
know
it-
who you're talking
I
about.
didn't hear what he said.
With all the money.
Oh, D.B. Cooper.
the airplane.
Yeah.
PP.
Douchebag Cooper. P.P. Cooper, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Me too.
You want to hear about a dream lamp?
Yeah.
This one actually, like, it's fucking weird.
What, like heebie-jeebies or just like...
Like, what the fuck? Like, it makes you think, am I in a dream right now? That kind of story.
Okay.
So, I'm going to read it verbatim. I found a news article about it, but it didn't have the whole, like, Reddit post that they found it on. So, I found the post. They took it off Reddit. Tickled. Don't touch my feet. So, this guy says this is a throwaway account because it's really personal. So, I guess he posted it and then left. So... You ready?
Yeah.
Terry, you ready?
Yep.
My last semester at a certain college, I was assaulted by a football player for walking where he was trying to drive. Note, he was 325 pounds and I was 120 pounds. While unconscious on the ground, I lived a different life. So he lived a whole different life. I met a wonderful young lady. She made my heart skip and my face red.
Wait, this guy's in what year of college?
His last semester.
And he's 125 pounds?
He might be short. I don't know. So, yeah, he met a lady. He fell in love with her. He said, I pursued her for months and dispatched a few jerk boyfriends before I finally won her over. After 2 years, we got married, and almost immediately she bore me a daughter. I had a great job, and my wife didn't have to work outside of the house. When my daughter was 2, my wife, bore me a son. He speaks weird.
It sounds like from like the 1850s.
My son was the joy of my life. I would walk into his room every morning before I left for work and doted on him and my daughter. One day while sitting on the couch, I noticed that the perspective of the lamp was odd, like inverted. It was still in 3D, but just wrong. It was a square lamp base, red with gold trim on 4 legs and a white square shade. I was transfixed. I couldn't look away from it. I stayed up all night staring at it. The next morning I didn't go to work. Something was just not right about that lamp. I stopped eating. I left the couch only to use the bathroom at first. Soon I stopped that too, as I wasn't eating or drinking. I stared at the fucking lamp for 3 days before my wife got really worried. She had someone come and try to talk to me. By this time, my cognizance was breaking up and my wife was freaking out. She took the kids to her mother's house just before I had my epiphany. The lamp was not real. The house is not real. My wife, my kids, none of that is real. The last 10 years of my life are not real. The lamp started to grow wider and deeper. It was still inverted dimensions. It took up my entire perspective, and all I could see was red. I heard voices, screams, all kinds of weird noises, and I became aware of pain. A fuck ton of pain. They blurred out the words. The first words I said were, I'm missing teeth, and opened my eyes. I was laying on my back on the sidewalk, surrounded by people that I didn't know. Lots were freaking out. I was completely confused. At some point, a cop scooped me up, dragged/walked me across the sidewalk and grass, and threw me face down in the back of a cop car. I was still confused. I was taken to the hospital by the cop. Seems he didn't want to wait for the ambulance to arrive. I was given CT scans and redacted. I don't even know. I went through about 3 years of horrid depression. I was grieving the loss of my wife and children and dealing with knowledge that they never existed. I was scared that I was going insane as I would cry myself to sleep, hoping I would see her in my dreams. I've never, but sometimes I see my son, usually a glimpse out of my peripheral vision. He's perpetually 5 years old, and I can never hear what he says. So, this dude, he got knocked out on the sidewalk and lived 10 years of a life, having kids, a job, and everything.
That's fucked.
And then woke up to being, dragged into a cop car because he was in such a bad shape that they couldn't wait for an ambulance to come out.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah. So what if you're just laying on the sidewalk, just fucked up right now?
I'd be upset.
You're out for a day and you live a whole life.
Yeah.
It'd be
Well, I guess I don't know how bad that'd be.
Why?
Because if you do something stupid in your one life and it gives you a better
learn lessons in your dream.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
But what if that life is nothing like this? And this is an alien world and you wake up and it's just what the fuck was that?
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
Or that's the language that you actually speak.
Yeah.
I just felt that, you're in this life, you think it's real, and then one day you just see something that's off, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then it just takes up all of you, and then you just realize, this isn't real.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You're looking kind of, not real right now.
You're looking pretty unreal.
Hey, watch it now.
Hey.
That's all I have in that story. Hey, you want to hear something cool?
Yeah, sure.
Cows can walk upstairs, but not down. That's another fact I have.
Rock on.
So, do you want me to get into more of my stories, or you want to go to yours?
I got a pretty long one here. 7 or 8 pages.
Jesus Christ. What story is that?
The sinking.
Let me hear it. Let me hear it in my ears.
Okay. This one, this is actually pretty sad. So, this is the sinking of the SS Articulate. So it was a ship built out of wood. That's an important detail. It was built for the Collins Line in 1850, and it was the fastest ship of its time and was known like the whole line was known for having like good crews and stuff like that. And ships in the class had also rescued passengers from other ships, like where they were sinking. So they were kind of given the reputation of being like heroes. And
Or like an elite class of sailors.
yeah, after 1853, things weren't as smooth as it had been like when they first started, because it ran aground in 1853, and the next year it like hit some rocks or something like that, and it got like some new like overhauled a little bit, and it said that its engine was like it would strain the boat too much because it's wood, and these are like it's a big paddle ship too. It's not like the Titanic or anything like that, with like the big ass wheels on the side.
Please don't play that loud. We'll get copyrighted. It's already happened once.
Yeah, so on September 20th, 1854, the Arctic left from New York, or for New York from England, and so there were some prominent people on board, including some wealthy families who like were like they helped build the ship, and they were like important in like the Collins Line or whatever, and there was also a French diplomat who was heading to DC. I can't remember his name, but he got some shit after the wreck. Anyway, so things were...
Come on, dude. It's so distracting.
Chaos.
Things were relatively uneventful and went pretty smoothly. But another ship, it was called the Vesta. It was an iron ship that it was used to take French fishermen home from Canada, like back to France. And so the Vesta left, and it was headed for the same area that the Arctic was, off of Newfoundland. And on September... Oh, wait. I'm going to play a drinking game real quick. Every time I say Arctic, I'm going to take just a little sip. Feel free to join me. I've already said it 1, 2, 3, 4.
Drinking game with sweet tea. It's gonna make yourself sick.
Nah. So on September 27th, thick fog blanketed the sea, making visibility very rock hard. Despite this, the U.S. government, like, I guess they helped support building the ship, and they gave money, and they wanted to, like, see the Collins Line, like, do horribly. So, like, you have to go, like, full speed no matter where you go.
Why'd they want to see it go bad if they gave them grants?
I think it was a small kind of, like, line, and there were bigger ones that knew what they were doing, that they didn't have to pay to build. But, so, yeah, so they're going through this fog, full speed, and just after noon, the Arctic spotted the Vesta, and they took a gamble. Like, instead of I guess you're supposed to pass each other on the right. I don't know what the deal with that is, but they went in front of it. Like, it was coming like this, and they went in front of it hoping they'd go this way, but it's not what happened. It, like, turned into...
because they were trying to go to the right of it.
Yeah.
The other boat, I mean.
Yeah. So, the Vesta, it tore through... It had, like, one of those, like, the kind of like the pirate-looking things, where it has, like, the mermaid here and that big wooden part jutting out.
It's like plow through things.
Yeah, well, it had that, except it was iron, and so it just,
nice.
tore right through the
wooden...
the Arctic's hull.
Because it was all wood, right?
Yep. And...
Love you, Terry.
Bye, Terry. And so it hit the Arctic's hull, and it got like it kind of dragged it along almost, and it dragged itself into the paddle box. It's like the thing that like goes outside the paddle, just so
Like a guard around it.
Yeah, and so the Vesta was torn in two, with the stern still remaining afloat. That's like the back part of the ship, and a quick inspection on the Arctic it showed that there was damage above the waterline, but they were like, "Oh shit, we got this." And so on the Vesta, the passengers began to panic after like seeing men get ripped in half.
Ugh,
Yeah.
fuck, yeah.
Yeah, like it's pretty fucking nuts. And so there's one lifeboat that got launched from the Vesta, and it wasn't supposed to be launched. It was like against captain's orders, but they were making their way for the Arctic.
What?
Did you throw this?
I didn't.
Why'd you throw it?
I didn't throw it. Did you
This
throw
is
it?
this is devolving into chaos. Can you please get her out?
Come on.
Alright.
Come on. Come on. Come on. You did throw it. I heard you. It came out from under.
I have my pen.
It came out from under the door, Mr. Blue Riding over there. Why? Why?
Because you were playing the music outside the door.
Dude, I was in the fucking living room.
Yeah, okay.
Like I didn't throw that pen too. Anyway. So, lifeboat was launched and they're trying to make their way to like get the help because they thought the Vesta was going down.
Was the Vesta damaged?
It
Like
was
that?
ripped in half.
I thought the Arctic was the one that was damaged.
It was damaged, but they like ripped the Vesta in half.
Even though it was iron. Fuck.
Yeah. So one lifeboat in turn was launched from the Arctic. I'm actually 2 behind already. It was launched to see if they could help anyone on the Vesta, and they were turning around, and so the people in the Vesta, they're like, those motherfuckers are taking off on us, and that's
like a
not the
hit and
case.
run.
Yeah. So by this point, passengers came out on the deck to see what was the matter. I'm gonna take my 2 sips.
Okay. 1, 2.
So there were passengers out on the same, all on the same side of the deck, and there were actually so many people out that it made it start to list. So they're like, you can't
It's
like
listing.
Yeah, it's listing. So they're like, you can't like stand over here because you're gonna tip the whole ship. And
Yeah, they're going to list it faster.
yeah, so while watching the lifeboat, like it's still like crazy fog, and while watching the lifeboat disappear into the fog,
God damn.
Captain Loose noticed the sound of the paddle changed, and so he said it was like deeper, and that meant that the ship was going down, and so he's like, oh shit, like we're not good.
Oh, ship.
Yes, oh shit.
You think anybody said that?
I'm sure
Like
someone
any
has.
dad jokes on there?
Yeah.
They're like, honey, oh, ship. We're sinking.
Yeah, I bet someone has. Anyway, so this time he's like, go down there and see like what's the matter, and he pulled a fireman that was on his lunch break, like looking at the Vesta, and him and this guy, they climbed over the side of the ship, and they discovered that the bow of the Vesta was still stuck in the hull of the Arctic.
Wait, so they were still stuck together? Or it was in half by this point,
Like they had one half of the Vesta stuck in their boat.
completely disconnected from the other half?
Yeah.
Fuck. Holy shit.
Yeah, and they're only going like 15 miles an hour too.
Damn. So, why in the fuck would the Arctic try to cut in front of it?
So like, they're like.
I'm
Like
just saying,
this.
they're supposed to go to the right, right?
Yeah, but they were like this when they saw them. So they're like, we'll try and go this way if you go this way. But they didn't have, like, wireless to use
Yeah.
either.
But just go to the right of it and then turn back into your lane.
But you had to go, like, make that sharp turn like that when you're already
So
that
they're
close
pretty much
together.
fucked either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so they tried doing, like, all this, like, stuff to try and save the ship. Like, they wanted to build, like, barriers around, like, where the hole was. And he wanted, like, because it still had sails on it. It's, like, one of those boats that has, like, you know, the big wheels on the side, and there's still, like, masts and stuff. So if
Okay.
you get stuck, you can sail your way back. And he's, like, put a canvas sail on the outside, and it just, like, tore up. Because it was, like, caught on all the wreckage.
Mm.
And by that point, like, it already sank so much that, like, they couldn't even get down there to, like, block it from the inside.
Yeah.
So all they had were, like, these, like, pumps that would come on, and then you could also hand pump to, like, help a little bit.
That's not going to get a huge amount of water out, though.
It did, like, for a little bit. It was still afloat for, like, 4 or 5 hours afterwards.
Shit.
Yeah.
Completely ripped in half.
No, okay. I'm talking about
The Arctic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
I
yeah.
was going to say, how was that thing still above water?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he tried to get the lifeboats. I'm sorry. He tried to get the lifeboat that they launched like come back to the ship, and they didn't hear anything, so they left them because like he knew that the guy in charge, he was a good like sailor, and that he figured he was already like if they didn't want to put the whole ship in danger for like a few guys, so he's like he'll pull through somehow. None of those guys were ever seen again.
Fuck.
Yeah. So that's like their first point. We're like, okay, shit's going down. And so the Arctic started to pull away from the Vesta. And there's still guys on top of like the deck, like screaming, like trying to get help. So they just like go, I was going to say drive away. They sail away, just leaving these guys there. And so at this point, the lifeboat from the Vesta that was going to the Arctic, it was just pulling up alongside it.
And they took off.
Yeah. And they got caught in the paddle wheel, and it dragged them underwater. And it said that these guys went through a few rotations before they were like killed.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And the fucking crazy part, one guy got pulled out of it. They dragged a guy off onto the deck.
From the propeller?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that dude's story?
Yeah.
Did he live?
Yeah.
Like, after the whole thing happened? Damn.
So, some of the pumps, like I said, they'd be hand cranked. And it said that people, like everyone took turns on board. But, like, people did it for so long that, like, their hands started bleeding and the pumps were just all bloody and sticky.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where, like, you could hardly pump it anymore.
What was it? It's either that or sink.
Yeah. So, by this point, like, everyone knows, like, shit's going down. And the captain, he told each quartermaster to arm themselves, to, like, just to stay safe. And to try and get attention of other ships, Stewart...
To stay safe from what?
Like passengers, like getting unruly.
Like rebelling and like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's only 6 lifeboats on this boat.
It's like on Titanic.
Yeah. I'm going to look this up real quick because I didn't include this. There's only 6 lifeboats on this thing.
How many people were on it?
That's what I'm looking up.
So was the Arctic was a passenger ship too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many people?
Don't look it up because I just want to shock you by the end with like
what?
The survivors. Because the amount...
Was there like a very low amount of survivors?
Yes.
Oh.
So it said there was probably more than 400 people on board. This is coming from Wikipedia, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm not in school anymore. I'm going to use Wikipedia any goddamn time I want. Yeah. So, I thought this was kind of cool. I didn't know this. They had cannons on like these old ships just to try, like, if they are sinking, to just try and get like the attention. Yeah. And
shooting grape shot at other ships. Help! Like, take everybody out.
Come closer. I can't get a shot in on you.
I thought you were gonna say in case like pirates.
No. I'm sure.
There's
Yeah.
still pirates today. I mean, I'm not talking like Blackbeard pirates.
I bet there still were.
Yeah,
in the
there definitely
1850s.
was. There still is today.
I mean, like Blackbeard. Like down in the Caribbean, I'm sure there was at least like pirates like.
Do you think they?
Like yarr.
Do you think they just carried swords too?
The sabers.
Sabers and what, muskets?
Flintlock, like.
Flintlock, yeah.
Pistol, yeah. I bet they did. But back to this guy, Stuart Holland. He was manning the ship's cannon, and he went down with the ship. And apparently, his last words, he told the captain, just like tell people like I was like a good person, because that'll go to show like some of the shit that went on.
Tell him I did good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I would do if I was like one of the last guys on the ship?
What?
I would shimmy myself into one of those cannons and try to blast myself to safety.
That's a smart idea.
Do a sweet backflip to safety.
Yeah, so they kept going on, and the ship started to lose power, and Captain Luce ordered the first lifeboat be filled and lowered to the waterline, and his plan was to have all of them launch at once so that they could stick together and like try and get back to like civilization. So they packed this one with like a bunch of food and water and stuff like that, and So the ship's butcher was in charge of this boat, and there's like some other sailors, but there's like women and children in this, and so they launch it, but they wait at the water line, or that's the orders to wait at the water line, and the sailors on board, they cut the rope and they just drifted on out. None of them were ever seen again. So the crew started to look out for themselves, like, as well as some other male passengers.
Like every man for himself type shit.
Yeah, they took it a step too far.
Ooh.
Yeah. So a lifeboat was being filled with women and children. It was tipped over, throwing every one of them into the sea. They all died. So these guys took over and they launched the boat, and these guys actually survived. There's actually a lot of people that survived that probably shouldn't have survived. But another lifeboat, it was taken and left without many people in it, because it was just like a few of the crew, like they're good buddies.
They're like, fuck it, let's get out of here, like quick.
It's like if like the boys in the group chat were like, we're going down.
Like
Let's
fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so pieces of shit.
Yeah. So thinking he had two more lifeboats, because he lost the one with the Vesta. 3 were launched already. So he thought he had 2 more lifeboats to launch, but Captain Luce, he was shocked to find even more crewmen had taken one of the lifeboats while the first one was the one was tipped over. So they're like on the other side of the ship and like, get this fucker down quick. He's not gonna notice. And so they took all the cigars, some of the food, and the ship's pistols. So those quartermasters, they never even got their pistols.
They're just fucked with nothing.
Yeah. So with only one lifeboat left, like, shit really hit the fan, and so he decided to have a makeshift raft. Because the way that like they described it, it sounded like this lifeboat was already in the water, and they built a raft out to it, like going from the ship to the lifeboat, just to like try and keep people off the ship and like get them somewhere safe. Like hopefully it might float a little bit, but they like ripped doors off of hinges and stuff like that, like built this thing. And so at this point there was 3 groups that broke out. There were people who listened to Captain Luce's like every word and were like trying to help people, and then there were women and children who like just like kind of gave up and just started praying. And there was these guys and the crew too. They broke into the liquor cabinet and just got like super drunk and
like fuck it.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna die, we're gonna do what the fuck we want. It said many of the men in the 3rd group started to like rape the women on board.
Jesus.
Yeah, like they're going down swinging. So the men with Captain Luce, they tried their best like to protect the women and children as best they could, but like there's no way that people weren't just like not killing each other on this point.
They didn't have pistols to...
No, they're using like fucking axes and just like whatever they could find.
So it just went to like anarchy.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like mass murder and you're just using whatever you can swing with. It said that Captain Luce stabbed a guy because he was like coming at him and he stuck him. And around this time the ship started getting like really unstable. Like it was rolling with the waves and it was just kind of going... And so like Holland, one stewardess stood by the pump until the very end, even after Captain Luce told her that she already did her duty. She died. There was only 2 stewardesses on like this whole thing. You know what a stewardess is?
Yeah.
Okay. So some of the men, so like the ship's going down pretty much, and they rushed the raft because it wasn't even done yet, and they're trampling over each other and just like pushing people off, and they like got in this boat and they were like rejecting like people like in the water, like just kind of like rowing away from them. And so like the last lifeboat's gone and Captain Luce is like, fuck it, like I've done everything I could. And so he kind of like, he'd like come to terms that, you know, like I'm gonna die, and he started like going around like saying his goodbyes to like all the passengers on the ship. And because there's like people he knew on there. And so he went, I thought this was pretty sad, his son came with him on this trip because like he went to go to Europe with his dad, and So the whole time he was sick in his cabin. Like, he wasn't out on the deck at all or anything like that. Like, he's all by himself. And so this whole time, he's still in his cabin. He's like, what the fuck is going on? And his dad comes and he gets him. And so at this point, it was already going down by the stern. And Captain Luce held his son when he pulled into the water. It said it pulled him down twice. And he was holding his son the first time. And then the second time he got pulled down, he lost him. And so he comes back to the surface, and he found his son, and like he's like swimming over to him, and the Arctic already hit the bottom of the ocean, and that paddle box, it like got knocked loose, and when it hit the bottom, it like disconnected and it surfaced, and it killed his son and some other people like when it came up, and it said that it hit Captain Luce in the head too, but like yeah.
Holy shit.
So
This
now
is way more tragic than I thought it would be.
yeah. So now, like, there's a dozen people, it said, along with Captain Luce, and they all climbed on top of this thing, and there was people who, like, they were watching their families drown, and, like, right next to them.
Yeah.
But, like, the waves are, like, too rough to, like, you know, like, reach out and help them. And so 12 people surrounded by, like, all these dead bodies, and then, like, sharks come. Like, have you ever heard of the Indianapolis?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's like that.
I wasn't even thinking about sharks.
Yeah, and they're on this paddle box. It's like just barely out of the water, and yeah. So all they could do was just kind of watch people die, and so like while all this is going on, like some of the lifeboats are starting to show back up, like in port, and actually all three of them landed in Canada, and my bad. One of them got picked up, and two of them landed in Canada, and then the other three.
It's never.
Yeah. The two that got picked up, it was all like the guys that were like being selfish, and they ran into another boat on the way back, like after being picked up, and they're like, we're going back out to see if we can find anyone. Do you guys want to go to Canada, or do you want to just stay with us and then go to the U.S. afterwards? And all those guys went to Canada. Because
they were like, we're in deep shit if we get...
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they ever get, like, charged or anything?
No.
Fuck.
Yeah. So a few days later, this is back to the people on the paddle box. There was 12 people on it when they started, and there was only 3 people left whenever, like, they got picked up. And it said that it was a sailor, actually the guy that got pulled back onto the boat from the paddle.
Okay.
Him and Captain Luce. And it said that the sailor tried to kill himself a few times because he was just going insane.
That night, he tried to...
Well, like in the days...
Like after he was rescued?
No, the days before he was rescued.
Oh. How long are they out there, like, waiting?
A few days.
Fuck. Dirt bikes going fast.
So, the 2 boats that went to Canada, they were with each other pretty much the whole time, and...
They get married?
Yeah. And so they went back to this other part of Canada together, and they roll into port, and they find the fucking Vesta, like, safe and sound.
How?
Well, it said that they got all the men on board the Vesta. They stood on the very, like, edge of the stern to, like, raise it out of the water just enough where they could, like, limp home.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fucking insane. Could you imagine that?
No.
Like, I watched the...
That's the one that was ripped in half, right? The Vesta was ripped in half?
I was watching a video of this because it helped me understand a lot more. And, like, it was, like, you could see water, like, pouring into, like, the cargo hold and shit like that. Like,
Wait,
how the fuck do you get that back?
Holy shit.
And it sailed for 24 more years after that. And then it sank.
They rebuilt it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, these guys on the Vesta, they were, like, talking shit on the Arctic, and I see why. They're, like, it was, like, a total hit and run, and, like, they just totally left us in the water for dead. And then, people on the Arctic, they started showing up, and they're like, no, like, we were sinking too, we were just trying to, like, not save ourselves,
Save
but
as
you know
many
what I
people
mean?
as we could.
Yeah. And
Obviously not the guys that came back on the lifeboat.
Yeah. And they said that the guys in the lifeboats were saying that Captain Luce was like, he was like unfit to be a captain, and like they were trying to spin the whole thing on him. And
He stayed there till the end to try to save everybody.
yeah, and then like other people were like, no, like these guys are total dicks.
They left with cigars and pistols.
Yeah. Okay, so there were more than 400 people on board, and only 88 survived.
Fuck.
And most of them were members of the crew. All the women and children on board perished.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
It was dark.
And you want to hear something fucking crazier? So, like no one in the U.S. even knew about this until like 2 weeks later. And when they find out, the Collins Line rival Cunard, which they have like all like the boats today, like the Queen Mary 2 or whatever, and like those like big ones you see on TV. That's like this people.
Okay.
And like they had the Lusitania. I think I talked about that on here.
Yeah, I think you did.
So, they were so excited by the loss of the Arctic that they threw a fucking parade in New York City.
But over 300 people died.
Yeah. But they were like, our ships are way safer and we have better lifeboats.
Yeah, it's not really something to party about.
Yeah, I wouldn't flex on that. Maybe not at that time anyway.
Like, obviously you'd be happy that you have safe ships, but to party when a bunch of people just died.
Yeah.
It's fucking dark, dude.
Yeah.
That was a way darker story than I thought you'd tell.
Yeah. It's pretty fucked. And like, that diplomat, it said that he survived. He jumped over the rail, and he wasn't like being a dick, I don't think, but he jumped over the railing of the Arctic, and he like got into a
Lifeboat.
yeah, and he was like harassed for like the rest of his life.
Because he lived.
Yeah.
If anybody needs harassing, it's those crew members that jumped.
Yeah.
And said fuck off to everybody else.
Yeah. It said that Captain Luce, he did like take responsibility for leaving. I can't remember his name, but the one guy behind, he said he felt really bad, and that he like thought like he couldn't get the idea that like he was like cursing his name like right before he died.
His own name. Wait.
Cursing the captain's name.
Oh.
Because they were like friends.
Yeah.
And to just kind of leave him in the ocean. Like that is pretty fucked, but you know, I get it.
Damn. He got dark, dude.
Yeah.
Dark.
There's a lot of crazy stories like that about like these like older ships.
I haven't heard one in depth like that yet.
Yeah.
God
Oh,
damn.
that was by Part-Time Explorer, which they have he has some pretty cool content too,
Nice.
if you like that.
Well, you want to hear a cool fact to lighten up the mood?
Yeah.
Kangaroos can't walk backwards.
Do they walk?
They like hop.
Okay. I just didn't know if they were like sneaking, like tiptoeing.
Yeah, that's how they walk. They tiptoe everywhere. Well, want to hear a more lighthearted story?
Yeah, sure.
It's the Great Moon Hoax of 1835.
Okay.
Turns out the moon's not actually real.
Is it cheese?
No, it's not. It's not real. No, that's not anything the story's about. So, on August 25th, 1835, New York's newspaper, The Sun, started publishing a series of fake articles that told that there's life on the moon. They were written by editor Richard Locke, and he claimed that his articles
Dick Locke?
Yes, Dick Locke. And he claimed that his articles were authenticated by the Edinburgh Journal of Science. So in his stories, he said that with the help of a giant telescope in South Africa, scientists Sir John Herschel and Dr. Andrew Grant discovered life on the moon. They had supposedly seen many types of wildlife inhabiting lakes and fields, and the dominant species that they saw were a type of winged man/bat. Half man, half wing, half bear bat. So, the newspaper also said, why is this mic's like being quiet? Here we go. That's a lot better. So, yeah, the newspaper also said that the telescope they were using caused a fire in the observatory, and this had stopped their work. So conveniently, the telescope that they saw this through no longer worked. So, there were a bunch of philosophers slash storytellers that contemplated what life may be like throughout the universe, but the Sun claimed that this life on the moon was scientifically proven. They're like, finally, we've seen life, and there's man-bats. They're flying around. So the 6 stories were published over 6 days, and it had become so popular, probably because of the illustration that they had in it. There's like pictures of the man-bats like flying around and stuff. So the story was retold in newspapers all over the country. So weeks after the articles were published, the stories were exposed as a hoax, but the Sun stuck to their guns, saying it was true. There are man-bats on the moon. So the owner of the Sun, Benjamin Day, in hindsight, is pretty notorious for having like fake stories like throughout his newspaper. And these stories turned the Sun into a powerhouse that made like ass loads of money. And the Sun's still a thing today.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they still do kind of out there stories. I'm not sure if they're more reputable now. But Day had begun his printing career at age 14 at the Springfield Republican, and he later moved to New York to chase bigger dreams in the business. And dreams that led to fake Batmen on the moon and piles of money. So yeah, for like weeks, people were thinking that there was like man-bats flying around on the moon. So yeah, and he made a fuckload of money off these stories. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a British tabloid.
Oh, it's in England? No. Maybe the American one didn't last then.
Well, wait, are you sure this is American? Because you said that
It's
it
in
was
New
Sir
York.
or something.
In New York.
Oh. Wait, there was a
This-
U.S. and...
There still is?
Hang on. New York. It just had it. The New York Sun. But there is one in England. Just across the pond.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have on Batman. Wonder if that's where Batman became.
I don't think that's it.
Well, his story is that he was born on the moon, right? And then on the flight over, that he lost his parents.
Oh, yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And then where's the Joker from? I think he's from hell, right?
I think he's from Uranus.
That makes more sense. So this next story that I have, the untold truth of time traveler John Titor. What?
I want to hear a silly fact.
Oh, you want to hear another fact? Humans are bioluminescent and glow in the dark, but the light that we emit is 1,000 times weaker than our human eyes are able to pick up. So we glow in the dark, but we just can't see it.
You mean our mortal eyes?
Our mortal eyes can't see it.
I think it'd be pretty funny to like if I have a son, maybe to teach him to like call people mortal instead. Like, excuse me, mortal, can you help me find my mommy?
God,
I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
gets lost at Idlewild. He's like, mortal.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So this is the story about John Titor, the time traveler from a message board on the internet. What? What's so funny?
A time traveler from the message board on the internet.
Okay. So, in January 2001, username timetravel_0. Not sure where he posted it to, but he posted, "Greetings. I am a time traveler."
His MySpace page or something like that.
May have been.
Did they even have MySpace in 2001?
I don't know. Still a wee little lad at that point.
Yeah.
So he said, "Greetings. I'm a time traveler from 2036. I am on my way home after getting an IBM 5100 computer system from the year 1975. My time machine is a stationary mass temporal displacement unit manufactured by General Electric. The unit is powered by 2 top-spin dual-positive singularities that produce a standard offset Tipler sinusoid. I will be happy to post pictures of the unit." So a lot of lingo that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Science man lingo. So he started immediately getting questions from believers and skeptics. But what separated him from the other crazies was that all of his answers were very precise. The Guardian said John Titor held his own against skeptical physicists, and he provided very detailed pictures and diagrams of his, quote, time machine. And it was clear that if he was just a prankster, that he did some homework, because physicists were like, these like diagrams that he's showing us like actually make kind of sense. Like, they're very detailed. And so John Titor claimed that the reason he was sent back to get an IBM 5100, which is like an early computer, was that he needed to get scientists of the future a secret memory code from one of the computers. And this may seem like, it sounded kind of science fiction, like I need the memory code from the computer. But yeah, it might also be just that I'm dumb with computers. But Bob Dubke, D-U-B-K-E, I'm just going to call him Bob Duck. One of his engineers, he was one of the engineers of this computer, and he said in an interview that the function to access the secret code really did exist. So, like, this guy was talking about a real thing in a computer, which he could have just been a computer nerd.
Yeah.
But while in contact with the year 2001, he also warned of a dark future on his message board. He said that our era of humanity did a lot of damage to the environment, and he also said that the people in his time had made huge strides in cleaning up the radiation, and since all of their food and water is localized, they produce way less waste than us.
The radiation?
Yeah, of the dark future. God, this chair won't stop squeaking.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's driving me nuts. So, he said that our world and his were hugely different because we didn't know it yet, but people in the 2000s were just years away from decades of horrible wars. So, is it your turn now? It's still mine. Fuck. So, he said in the U.S., elections turned violent, causing a civil war in 2008. And he said in 2015, World War III would start, with Russia nuking the United States, Europe, and China, killing 3 billion people. This war caused him to become a child soldier when he was 13 years old. After the wars ended, Titor says the U.S. will split into small feudal communities. Humans of John's time have become hardened and very efficient in making their own tools, using guns, and moving when they need to move to where they need to move. Like, they're like nomadic. So, on his message board, he said, "Perhaps I should let you all in on a little secret. No one likes you in our future. This time period is looked at as being full of lazy, self-centered, civilly ignorant sheep," which is pretty true. It's pretty true. So Titor on his message board became very friendly with a woman named Pamela Moore. They talked like they knew each other outside of the internet, and she said John left her a secret song to verify his identity in case anyone tried to pretend to be him and make contact with her in the future. Like, he would just sing this little song to her, and she'd be like, "You're the real John Titor," because only us two know this song. So
I thought you meant he sent her, like, a SoundCloud demo.
could have been. So she said back in 1998 she had a very vivid dream about being with a time traveler in a car whose answers in her dream were identical to ones that John Titor gave her on these message boards. So in her dreams years before that, she was getting the exact same answers to the questions she was asking now. 2001 now. So Moore was also in contact with a woman with a woman named Kay Titor, supposedly John's mother, and Kay sent Pamela Moore a letter and a package that John wanted her to have. These contacts were monitored by Kay Titor's lawyer, Larry Haber. So Pamela Moore's talking to John's mom, and she has a lawyer overseeing all of these communications between the two. So John Titor went back to his time in 2001.
I thought you said he's from 2036.
Yeah, he went back to 2036. Is that what I said? In 2001, on March 24th. His last post, which I have screenshots of. Let me read these out. Let me smell your breath. Okay, so his last post was this. "I will be leaving this world line shortly, and this will be my final post. There are only a handful of people who will know exactly when I will be leaving, and I'm sure they will let you know when I'm gone. In the last few days, I have found your choice of topics quite interesting from an objective viewpoint. I think it collectively answers one of your own questions. If time travel is real, where are all the time travelers? In the past, I've stated that quite frankly you all scare the hell out of me, and I'm not sure other temporal drivers would feel the same, but now I have expanded explanation with 2 examples." I'm back to that, like, getting out of breath when I talk.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, a while ago, I related an experience I had with my parents while we were driving down a highway. Every now and then we would pass someone who was in obvious distress with their vehicle. I was amazed that so many people could pass them by without stopping to help. Their explanation was fear. The risk of helping someone was too great, and with today's technology, they probably had a cell phone anyway. If they didn't If they didn't, the walk to the gas station would be good for them and teach them a lesson for running out of gas. The fuck was that?
It's dead.
Oof. Camera's dying. So we're going to have half a video for this podcast. Episode 100, baby. So the other example is the plight of homelessness. When you pass them as individuals on the street, I see the way people selectively choose an alternate path to avoid them. Those two examples best define why time travelers do not show themselves. In trying to help you, we put ourselves at great risk, and there's really no point to it. We know that the nature of time dictates that traveling between exact world lines is impossible. Therefore, the only results you will see will be the ones we stay to see. Since world lines, outcomes, and events are infinite, we have better things to do. When I arrive in the new 1998 world line on my way home, I could easily start all of this again and continue to go through the same conversations with all the same people. However, I already know you won't pay any attention or believe me because we've already been through it on this world line. Besides, I think the walk to the gas station will do you some good. So then he says he has some parting thoughts. He said, I also want to thank Pamela for helping me with the email and everyone else who asked intelligent and insightful questions. I've learned a great deal. My parting thought revolves around something JC has been harping on since day one. No, I do not have a secret agenda, but I have been paying a great deal of attention to your world line.
Is he talking about Jesus Christ?
I think maybe just someone that asked a question or something. I'm not sure. So my interaction with you was not a direct mission parameter, but it was a secondary mission protocol based on standing orders given to all temporal drivers. That secondary objective is basically to gather as much information about a world line based on a set of observable variables when we first arrive. Your world line met those conditions. What amazes me is why no one here wonders why Y2K didn't hit them at all. Bring a gas can with you when your car dies on the side of the road. Farewell, John. So he was kind of like saying like,
Son of a bitch knows a little bit about sociology.
Yeah, he's like, pretty much your world's fucked. You don't see time travelers because they don't want you to see them. You guys wouldn't believe us anyway. So, hope you guys can look out for yourselves. See you later. So then, shit, where am I at? I lost my. Oh man, I lost my place hard. Okay. So Moore was in contact with a woman, K. Titor. Contacts monitored. Okay. So everybody mostly forgot about John Titor in the years following until the name resurfaced on CNN's iReport feature. I think it was just like a place on CNN's website where people can like report news that they're seeing. So a user named John Titor posted a frantic warning for the U.S. not to get into war with North Korea because it would result in half of the United States getting wiped out. No one obviously knows if it was the same John Titor, but Pamela Moore told Mike Sov, who was the author of Who Authored the John Titor Legend? Pamela told him that our timeline could have traces of John Titor's from multiple different timelines, possibly post-apocalyptic, possibly like regular. So investigator Mike Lynch believes that the real John Titor may be John Rick Haber. John Haber is the brother of Larry Haber. He was that lawyer that was overseeing their communication. John Haber is a computer scientist, which may explain some of John Titor's detailed responses to questions. And John's son Brandon is also an IT expert who once worked for NASA and the Air Force. Also, strangely, Art Bell, host of Coast to Coast AM, received 2 faxes in 1998 from a John Titor. Coast to Coast is like, it's like a radio show about like aliens, ghosts, like all kinds of like out there stuff.
Okay.
And he got these faxes 2 years before John Titor started talking on these message boards. This John also claimed to be from 2036 and was also sent to the past to get an old IBM computer. The difference this time was John said that worldwide devastation occurred because of Y2K. So that could have been a different timeline or just a lie.
Yeah.
So either John Titor from 1998 and John Titor from the message boards in 2001 were from 2 different timelines, or it was just a hoax that somebody never came from the future in the first place. Pamela Moore doesn't like or seem to believe the story of the faxes. She thinks it was somebody else. I don't know if she's just like, this isn't the John I know.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went.
But she said she thinks it's strange. Not a single person remembered the original fax, and they just magically reappeared in the timeline after this story came up. So she doesn't know if like this is some weird time. I think she believes that the time traveler part is real, and she's like something weird's going on like from different timelines and stuff. And because she was like, none of this came up until the CNN report that the faxes came years ago. Like back when John Titor was a big thing on message boards, nobody brought those up. So like, are we slipping through timelines or something? Or like, I don't know.
Or we're just forgetting a lost relic.
Just forgetting a lost relic named John Titor.
John Tits.
It seems like a story that would like be on a South Park episode.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, intriguing. I don't really believe it, but it was an intriguing story.
Shit.
Why did you just turn your thing on?
I didn't mean to. I forgot it was there. The button.
So yeah, that was John Titor. Want to hear a cool fact?
Yeah.
So a group of wildcats is called a destruction.
What's a group of crows called?
A murder?
Yeah.
Or is that ravens?
Raven.
Is it a raven?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to hear about the NEOM Line?
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of cool, but kind of dystopian. So I don't know how I feel about this. So this is going on right now, by the way.
Okay.
So in Saudi Arabia, as part of the NEOM project, NEOM, that's how it's spelled, a smart city of the future is being planned. There will be no cars, no conventional streets, and no carbon emissions at all. It's a completely clean running city.
Isn't Saudi Arabia where they have like a bunch of shit against women?
Yeah, they just let women drive a couple years ago, and they kill journalists and stuff.
Yeah. Did you hear about all these golfers that are going to the LIV or LIV thing?
Live Golf.
Yeah, they're getting paid like out the wazoo.
They're getting
play there.
paid by the same government that helped with 9/11. It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So, the line is what the city is called. It will be a place where people could, quote, research, incubate, and commercialize new technologies and enterprises in groundbreaking ways. So, construction has already begun and will cost hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, it is a whole city getting built. So, the city will be 200 meters, which is 220 yards wide. So 2 football fields wide this city's going to be. And it'll be 170 kilometers or 105 miles long, and it will be 500 meters or 1,640 feet tall. And this is taller than the Empire State Building. The whole city's going to be that tall. It's going to be 2 football fields wide, and it's going to be 100 miles long. So it's literally a line in the desert.
It's a strip.
Yeah. And so residents of the city will be able to get anything they need within a 5-minute walk from their home. And the city will have a high-speed rail from one end of the city to another. You can travel from one end of the 105-mile city to the other in 20 minutes. It will also have vertically layered communities, and a perfect climate will be maintained all year round thanks to a mixture of sunlight and ventilation. The top's going to be open. Air can come in.
Is there a dome? Is it a dome?
No, it's a line. It's just a line.
But what top?
Like, it's going to be open. The top is open. There's going to be like trees and shit in layers, and like each layer is going to be different parts of the city.
I'm so lost.
I'll show you a picture. It'll make more sense.
Okay.
So, it's literally a line, a really tall line. Both sides are going to be mirrors. So it's going to be like, you might not even see it from far away because it's going to blend in with the background and everything. So, it will also have, vertically layered communities, perfect climate, thanks to sunlight and ventilation. The city will be walled on each side by massive mirrors for the whole length. According to NEOM's website, the line will support an invisible and seamlessly integrated physical digital infrastructure citywide. This will include utilities, high-speed mass transit systems, advanced robotics, and a proposed artificial intelligence that will learn and grow with the city. This AI will monitor the city, collecting and analyzing data so that it can predict ways to improve daily life for citizens, businesses, and technologies within the line. Saudi Arabia is projecting to create 380,000 job opportunities with the city, and they want to have it done by 2030, and we'll have 1 million residents by the same year if everything goes right.
That sounds like the biggest load of shit I've ever heard.
They're building it. They're already building it.
That is...
Did you look up a picture of it?
No.
Look up.
What's this called? The line?
Yeah, look up NEOM Line. NEOM, the line. If it's, I really wish it wasn't in Saudi Arabia because it honestly seems like a cool city, in my opinion. The part I don't like is that everyone's gonna be on top of each other, and with an authoritarian government like they are, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
That looks fucking weird.
Yeah. It looks crazy.
It looks like something like on Minecraft almost.
Let me see a picture you got. Yeah, it's a line for miles, hundreds of miles, or 100 miles. Be taller than the Empire State Building. Layers of, like I guess the layers above ground are going to be like living businesses, stuff like that. The layer underneath is going to be like maintenance. Layer beneath that is the transit system that'll take you from one end to the other. Or I guess it's probably going to stop at different spots too. I mean, but like, I would love to visit a city like that just because it looks cool as fuck. Just it's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the countries where if you get caught with alcohol, they sentence you to death.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that part's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
But we were watching that Blade Runner movie last week, and we were like 5 minutes in, and Kylie was like, "Oh shit, this reminds me of something," and she showed me that, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
It's just a 105-mile long mirror city. That looks cool.
I don't get the mirrors part.
They want it to integrate with nature. So they don't want like a huge like concrete like buildings and stuff. They just want to have a big sleek thing that'll like reflect the same picture of nature, I guess.
Yeah, but then how are planes and shit supposed to get there if you can't even see it?
I mean, you're going to be able to see it. It's just not going to be like a huge city sitting there. Planes aren't going to accidentally run into it unless Saudi Arabia...
I bet that would happen.
Unless their government helps out with another terrorist plot.
Yeah.
But, damn, I wish it was in like Canada or something. I would definitely go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I am excited to see it done, though. I think the concept itself is cool. I just wish it wasn't Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Like I said 5 times already.
Yeah.
So...
They're, no bueno.
So, you want to hear one more cool fact?
Yeah, sure.
Violin bows are usually made from horsehair.
I thought that was kind of well known.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't.
Want to hear another cool fact?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't know that last fact. How about that? That's 8 facts.
Yeah.
So I have one more story to top off this episode 100. How long have we been going? Like an hour and a half-ish?
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So this story's from 3 years ago, and I knew about it, and I thought it was fucking awesome. But I was just like, I want to get the actual research on it and like officially report it because we're cutting-edge reporters on this. This is all business, no horseplay.
Yeah,
all business,
facts.
no horse come.
All fact, no fiction.
This is from CNN 3 years ago. Said the article's called "When a Mountain Lion Attacked Him, a Colorado Runner Choked It to Death." Have you heard this? So, like I said, it happened 3 years ago. Travis Kaufman was out on a run in the Horsetooth Mountain open space by Fort Collins, Colorado, and he heard a noise behind him. Before he knew it, an 80-pound mountain lion was attacking him. The cat bit him in the face and the wrist, but he turned the tables. He broke free, and his obvious adrenaline rush, he managed to choke the mountain lion until it was dead.
Nice.
The lion was tested after he killed it, tested negative for rabies, and the necropsy confirmed that the mountain lion was choked to death.
That's pretty badass.
Kaufman was taken to the hospital for serious injuries, but he was released and is now fine. Mark Leslick or Leslie, I don't know if I wrote a C or an E. He's a manager at Colorado Parks and Wildlife. He said the runner did everything he could to save his life. In the event of a lion attack, you need to do anything in your power to fight back, just as this gentleman did. Lions tend to avoid humans, and in over 100 years, less than 20 people were killed by mountain lions in North America. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't be fucking terrifying to see them out in the woods. So another Colorado Parks and Wildlife manager, Ty Petersburg, said mountain lion attacks are not common in Colorado, and it is unfortunate that the lion's hunting instincts were triggered by the runner. This could have had a very different outcome. So this dude had a mountain lion fucking bite him in the head and the face, and he was like, I'm not dying today.
Yeah.
And he fucking choked it to death.
I bet he put it in a fucking headlock and just...
I like to think that he triangle choked it. Got on its back, wrapped his whole body around it.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
But yeah, I've known that story for years, and I was like, what's a good story to do in this episode? And
Yeah.
guy choking a mountain lion to death. He
Yeah.
fucking killed it. Not by beating it or shooting it. He choked it.
Oh, there's this one move we had in wrestling, and I never was able to use it in a match because I was not that good. But like whenever we'd run it, like I would go up with a kid that I did not like at all, and it was like whenever you're like both guys are down on the mat, and then I think you like throw him over almost and get him on his back, and then you like come around and sweep, and you have to have the arm for it to be legal, but you just get on your heels and put all your fucking weight on his chest, and then pull him up as hard as you possibly can.
So he's like this?
No, he's like this.
Oh, he's bending forward.
He's like this, and you're just choking all your all his breath out of him.
I didn't know choking was in wrestling.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was more like jiu-jitsu. Huh.
you just gotta do it strategically.
Strategically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have for this episode. Episode 100.
Yeah, I think aside from some disturbances, I think it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah. Thanks, Terry. I'm gonna be honest, Ben. When we first started this podcast, I didn't think we'd get to 100.
I didn't think so either.
And here we are, still kicking.
Yeah, and with you guys too. I just looked at the camera, but it's not
Camera's
on.
dead.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around with us for 100.
Yeah, we're planning on bringing you more. The last episode thing was a joke.
Yeah, we're not done.
Next, we're gonna get to 6,900.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot. That's
Yep.
69 times what we've just done.
Yeah. Hell yeah. How many years would that be? If we do one a week,
Oh, it's like 52 a year.
6,900 divided by 52. And then multiply that by wait. How many? No, just divided by 50.
One episode a week, that would be 132 years.
I think we can do it. By the time we're old, there's probably going to be technology there to
Keep us
so we
alive
can live
forever.
to like 200. We'll be fine.
Hell,
Even-
no one really is even going to be able to understand us in 132 years.
Why, are you going to speak another language?
I meant just because it's hard to hear old people speak.
Dude, it's all going to be brainwaves by then.
Oh, yeah.
It's all going to be telepathy.
Yeah, I forgot.
So, yeah. I mean, unless we can turn this into like a full-time job and pump out a couple a week, so that we can have it down to like 70-something years. But yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
If you have stuck with us.
Mom.
If you have any suggestions on how to make this better, any ideas for topics, we are open to everything.
Yeah.
I just don't like the comments where they're like, I remember one of our first episodes, I said David Politis, you know, the guy who writes about the missing 411.
Mm.
I didn't know it was Politis. I called him Paulides. And someone commented, because it was just up on YouTube then.
Yeah.
We didn't have it on like iTunes or
Yeah.
anything. He was like, it's pronounced Politis. Say it, or he was like, fix it, retard, or something like that.
I remember that.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't know his name.
Hell, I know I butchered names on here.
Oh, that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of our, I wouldn't say shtick. That's what you get with us. I pronounced like 3 names wrong on this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, is that it for episode 100?
I think so.
You can follow us on Twitter at room_grandma. We're Grandma's Room Podcast on Instagram. Our video is on YouTube and Rumble. I'm going to have to get like a longer lasting battery for the camera, so our YouTube videos will be all
Yeah.
video. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Spotify, all the big boys, anywhere you listen to podcasts
If you can
normally.
think of it.
And if we're not, tell us. We'll get on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it, other than Spotify playlists.
Yeah, we got some playlists that just of some music that we like. We hope you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Grandma's Saloon, that's like old country music. Grandma's Opium Den, that's just kind of vibe and music. Grandma's Trap House, which is rap. Grandma's Clam Jams, which that's like 80s party music.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma's Blues Club, that's old blues style music. Grandma's Jukebox, which is like old 50s and 60s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma's Guitar Case, which is like alternative rock kind of stuff. Grandma's Crimbus Tree, which I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory.
Christmas music.
Yeah. Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah.
8. It doesn't help us or hurt us if you follow it.
It's
just something
something we do for pleasure.
Mm-hmm. For most pleasure.
Yeah.
Every time I see a follower go up on our playlists, I get off. Yeah. Ben, any last final thoughts? First thing top of your head for the closing of episode 100?
Just thank you for helping us get to 100.
No, I want a random thought. Just first thing.
Fly trap.
Fly trap. Okay. There you go. Thanks, guys. That it?
Stay golden.
Yeah.